What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Today is Monday, which means Monday Mail Day. I just got back from just a long week of traveling. Was in Omaha covering the fight, and I don't know how much time I'll have to edit this and to have all the special effects, and you know what I mean? So it might be a cut and dry episode, but we will get to some questions. I put a thumb up by the questions I'll answer. Without further ado, let's go. Jabbar Porter says, do you think Broner and Crawford will fight by the end of the year, next year? I wouldn't put money on it. I mean, I asked Crawford very similar question post-fight in Omaha. I said, what about, since you just fought John Molina, who's an Al Haymon fighter, top rank, and Al Haymon weren't really working together, how did that feel? And do you think there'll be others? And I even mentioned Broner. I said Broner or somebody on that side of the fence. And he says it's a good thing that they buried the hatchet and that they've tried to work together, and you know what I mean, we're able to work together. He said John Molina missed weight, and he said that just shows the level of professionalism on their side. So I don't really know what that means, like in terms of if Top Rank or Team Crawford or whatever feels the type of way and wants to do business with them again. But hopefully that's a good fight, but I wouldn't put money on it that it would happen. I think John Molina, like, he's my dude, but he's a guy with losses, and he doesn't have the star power as an Adrian Broner. So Broner and Crawford, I think, would be a harder fight to make. Plus, even, I mean, you look at not just for the Haymon, would Haymon want to risk Broner? You know, I mean, he already has 2 losses. Put him in there with a high-quality, skilled fighter like Crawford. But also on the Crawford side, on Top Rank, would they want to put their fighter in with Broner? You know what I mean? Top Rank historically has been known to make a lot of in-house fights, a lot. You know what I mean? We've seen Pacquiao Vargas when people much rather see Pacquiao or Amir Khan, Pacquiao Adrian Broner, Pacquiao Danny Garcia, etc. Pacquiao Errol Spence, Keith Thurman, right? And we got Jesse Vargas. So it's a big question mark, but I wouldn't bank. I wouldn't bank on that fight happening next year. Next question. Pretty boy Floyd Mayweather. Ego, do you think Bud versus Ricky Burns will happen next year? Now that's a fight I see more likely. Even though Crawford already beat him, Ricky Burns currently has a belt. He didn't look good in his last fight with Kirill Relic. But it is what it is. I mean, he's a champion now, and Top Rank has already done business with Eddie Hearn to make the Burns fight initially. So, I mean, I could see something like this happening, especially before a fight with Broner. And next question from Chris Jackson. Demetrius Andrade versus Jermall Charlo at 154. Who do you got winning and why? Now, I told you guys I don't like doing too much predictions. I value my prediction streak. I do the 7 reasons, and they're very detailed. Sometimes I watch tape on YouTube and like really study, you know what I mean? And it's not like you guys ask me easy fights on these Monday Mail Day questions. It's always the most competitive 50-50 fights because that's the fights that fans want to see. So I respect it, but I'm not really going to give a prediction because I don't know who I would pick. Demetrius Andrade, highly skilled. I watched him spar live. Just he's a beast. Southpaw. Jermall Charlo, he showed himself as to be a beast too. Versus Julian J-Rock Williams. A lot of people were confident that J-Rock Williams was a 50-50 fight and J-Rock could get it done. And I mean, Jermall hurt him with a jab, knocked him down, and then he punctuated it by knocking him out in spectacular fashion. You know what I mean? So it's a great fight. Both 6-footers, 6'1", whatever height they are. It's a great fight for boxing. And if it does happen, then you can look for my prediction. I'll definitely make a prediction on that. But it's a lot that goes into it. A lot of variables, like timing. You know what I mean? So that's why I don't like to. You got to look at it. This is boxing, and I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but this is how I take my prediction in my job. You know what I'm saying? Is I'm not gonna make a prediction for a fight that's not announced really in December of 2016, which is a 50-50 fight where I really need to kind of look at certain attributes and who does this and that, and then the fight is not made until late next year and the lots change. You know what I mean? Because that's how crucial and that's how much information and data I input into my predictions. Like if, like, let's say in March of next year, Charlo looks fat as hell, he goes on vacation or something, then that's going to influence my decision. You know what I'm saying? I put all that type of stuff. Or, you know what I'm saying, if Demetrius Andrade, if he, you know what I mean, tripped and fell and then broke his thumb, you know what I'm saying? I mean, God forbid, I'm not saying I want none of this to happen to these guys. I'm just saying I don't know. I factor everything in. So if the fight is announced, then you guys can look for a prediction. Next question, Courtney Douglas. Politics, why is everyone dodging Cannon Briggs and Boo Boo Andrade? It's simple. It's just high risk, low reward. I mean, Cannon Briggs, he's like, I don't know his actual age, 40 something. He's 40 something. He has knockout power. And you know what I'm saying? He's definitely a live dog in the early rounds. You know what I mean? Just because anytime your power is the last thing to go. And he has the attitude. He's in shape. You know what I mean? Has the attitude. Let's go, champ. That probably gets under people's skin too. You know what I mean? So they look at it. It's like, what am I going to fight this dude for? Like David Haye, you lose to, when Haye lost to Klitschko. Okay, you lost to Klitschko. Everybody was losing to Klitschko at that point. You know what I mean? So that's different than losing to Cannon Briggs. Lennox Lewis beat Cannon Briggs, and etc. Vitali. So it's a different danger, and he's definitely feeling the momentum. And the same thing with Boo Boo. He's inactive. He's been kind of inactive in the last few years, but he's highly skilled. And that inactivity didn't show up versus Willie Nelson. That was a great performance and a stoppage win for him. So people know how good he is. He went to the Olympics and stuff. So that's why. It's just politics. Same reason. Guys like, I could see Terrence Crawford being avoided. Who's going to really want to fight him? You're not going to make, like, you would probably rather fight Broner. And that's no shade to Broner. But Broner, most people would say in the technical skills department, he's not as ring IQ savvy and stuff as a Terrence Crawford. So you could basically fight a guy with 2 losses who has a bigger name in Broner and more flat-footed and more. If you compare Crawford and Broner in terms of what they do, Broner's style is more one-dimensional. And I'm not saying he's one-dimensional. I'm just saying comparing him to Crawford, Crawford does a whole hell of a lot of different things in that ring. You know what I'm saying? So most people would probably fight Broner because they've seen Broner in close fights before. Like the fight with, what's his name? Paulie Malignaggi, and then his losses and stuff. They've seen him knocked down. You haven't really seen that with Terrence Crawford. He was in a close fight with Gamboa, but you've seen the outcome. Gamboa ended up getting stopped for the first time in his career, and the only time since that point, and he got knocked down 4 times. So it's just a danger to fight certain guys, Rigondeaux and stuff like that, and it's unfair. But boxing, a lot of people say, oh, boxing is a business. It's a business, and people know, and certain people are stars for whatever reason, and it doesn't really need to be they're the most skilled. It's just they're stars. So that's just what it is. So that's why those guys, to me, are avoided. God Curry says, do you think Canelo can beat Charlo after his spectacular performance against J-Rock? I definitely think he has a chance. Again, I don't know if I would put money that he would beat him for a fact, because there's a picture, and I posted it on Instagram, and I've posted before. Jermall Charlo is way bigger than Canelo. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not in terms of mass, like Canelo's stocky, thick type of dude, pause. But Jermall has a good height, and it's not just about height. Jermall Charlo's clearly he comes from a boxing coach. And what I mean by that is there's everyone could be a boxing coach, but I'm saying Ronnie Shields teaches you boxing. Like, he teaches you fundamentals and stuff like that. And I'm not going to say any names or any other trainers, but there's some trainers out there who are kind of one-dimensional, and they'll teach you kind of offense only. They're not teaching you basics and get your glove back up. You know what I'm saying? So he comes from a good schooling, has been fighting all of his life, and most importantly, this is what's important, is he's that much taller than Canelo, and he has a good jab. You've seen his jab knock down Julian Williams in that fight. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying Canelo, because Canelo showed a good beard so far, hasn't really been hurt or staggered too much. I've seen him hurt before against Jose Miguel Cotto. But what I'm saying is, he has a stiff jab, so that could keep Canelo honest. So I think Canelo has a chance, but the best way I have to break down is Canelo. And see, this is the other thing that's interesting about the fight. Canelo is not really a pressure fighter. You know what I'm saying? He can put pressure on. See, this is the difference. This is who I know who knows their boxing. There's different people, there's terms and phrases and stuff that are thrown in boxing, and they're used and they're different. Like there's a difference between, to me, when I talk about boxing, between a pressure fighter and someone who can apply pressure. You know what I mean? A pressure fighter, to me, is somebody like Ruslan Provodnikov, Brandon Rios, a guy who's gonna provide a consistent level of pressure, and that's all they know. You know what I'm saying? They're like Terminators, Margarito. Those are pressure fighters, because no matter what you bring, if you bring power, if you bring speed, their game plan doesn't really change. To me, that's kind of what a pressure fighter is. But Canelo is not a pressure fighter. He's a boxer puncher, but he can apply pressure when he has you hurt and things like that. Like the James Kirkland fight, he put pressure on James Kirkland, meaning he didn't like let him off the hook, and he started piecing him up with combinations. But he's not a pressure fighter. He cannot do that Margarito style of fighting for 12 rounds. I have never seen Canelo do that, where he just put pressure on someone, stayed on top of him, pow, pow, pow. You know what I mean? There's spots where he puts pressure on Edeslani Lara, starts bop, bop, and ripping his body, but he's not a pressure fighter. So again, against a boxer and a guy with a good jab, that's going to be interesting. A guy who's taller, because Canelo has slow feet. So it's a dangerous fight. But to me, Canelo would have to be more of a pressure fighter and force his way on the inside some kind of way for the Jermall Charlo fight. That's his best chance. But you don't want to be at the end of Jermall Charlo's jab. It's a powerful jab, and he wants the full extension on his punches. You know what I'm saying? So it's a good fight, but it just depends on how Canelo actually has a good jab too. It's not always consistent. Like he started off with it in the Cotto fight, but he didn't keep it up through the course of 12 rounds. To me, he kind of abandoned it a little bit. But it'll be Canelo, how Canelo can get on the inside with his height and the height disparity, if you will. Mike Tyson was really good at that. Canelo he has fast hands, but he's not as fast as Mike Tyson. You know what I mean? Because Mike Tyson was just overall fast. Hands, feet, moving his head. You know what I'm saying? I'm ecstatic. Yeah. I'm gonna eat his kid. Like, you know what I mean? Mike Tyson was just, he's different. He was a lot of upper body movement in his prime, I'm talking about. So, Canelo has a shot, but he would want to get on the inside, and he wouldn't want to wait and get picked off and be on the end of Jermall Charlo's jab. So it's a good fight though. Next question, Frederick Cotton. Ego, do you think everybody ducking Demetrius Andrade, and what's up with Demetrius fight for the WBA regular belt? Like I said it before, clearly he's being ducked. A lot of people don't want that work. I'm not going to say any names, but I mean, he's a skilled fighter. That's what happens sometimes. People don't want, if you're that type of threat, you don't necessarily bring the money. You're confident too. Like, you know what I mean? He called out everybody. He said he'll fight Lara. He called out Canelo, called Canelo a bitch. Called the Charlo brothers out. He said he wants to step into the lion's den and turn the lions into cubs. And you know what I mean? He's confident. So on top of being skilled, it's a dangerous man. As far as his fight, now I was told this off the record. I don't think it really will hurt if I tell, but whatever. We'll see. Demetrius Andrade was supposed to fight in Germany against Jack Kukale, or I don't know how to pronounce his name. Kukale, that's what I'm gonna call him. And the fight fell apart. And from what I heard, there was just little clauses and little things and details in the contract, which prevented that fight from actually meeting a deadline and taking place. So things to the effect of, what I was specifically told, is Kukale's team and manager, they wanted to bring Demetrius Andrade to Germany, where the guy's from, the champion is from. He was down with fighting him in his hometown. Plus, you got to deal with the WBA, their split or whatever. It was 75-25%, I think. So Demetrius Andrade would only get 25%, being the challenger. And this is just for the regular belts, not the super champion. And I don't know off the top of my head who has the super belt, but this is just for the regular belt. He's not a big name. He's only getting 25% of the purse. You know what I mean? What was offered in the purse bid? So it probably wasn't that much money. And then on top of it, in the contract, I heard Kukule's team, they were putting like little provisions like that Demetrius Andrade had to show up for every press conference, and the press conference could be announced within 48 hours. Meaning, with 48 hours notice, if they said, "Hey, Andrade, we're doing a press conference. It's happening on Wednesday," he would have to be there. You know what I'm saying? And if he didn't, he would get fined a portion of his purse. You know what I mean? Like 25,000, 40,000 or whatever. So I heard that Andrade's team was just like, that's stupid. We're only getting 25%. We're at your mercy. We have to pack up and be ready to go to Germany. And you know what I mean? In a moment's notice. It just doesn't make sense. And then by the time they got all the details of the contract hashed out to the point where both parties agreed, it was already too late to promote the fight and too close to the actual fight date, so they just scrapped it. So I don't know if it'll actually happen now or what, but that's what I was told. And I mean, it is what it is. I don't know what's next for that particular fight. But boxing's like that. I mean, a lot of people think it's just, you just get a contract. Oh, I want to fight him. Sign on the dotted line. That's some Hollywood shit, like the movie Southpaw or something. It rarely works like that because people will, I want to walk out first. Oh, why is he in the red corner? This. Oh, I don't think he should be able to wear those gloves. You know what I mean? Whatever the details are. You know what I mean? Promoter details, venue details, and what dressing room you have. They have to work out all the details, and usually it requires, you know what I mean, their lawyers and back and forth litigation. Send this back. We don't like this. Take this off, and then we'll sign. You know what I'm saying? So it was just a lot of that, and the fight fell apart. That's what I was told. So we'll see what happens next. Next question, Buckin 5. Is Anthony Joshua ready for a fight with Klitschko? He has no choice but to be. Or should he have a few more fights and a little more experience first? I mean, no disrespect, but that question is kind of irrelevant because the fight was already announced officially. And beyond that, beyond the fight being announced for April of 2017, it's Joshua, you don't have a chance to get ready. The moment you become a champion, the bullseye is on your back. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like, oh, hey, I need a few more. If you're a champion, it's go time. You know what I mean? That's how I've always been told. So it's not really, oh, I need a couple more. You became a champion, then that was your couple more. Now you got to be ready to scrap and fight your mandatories or fight challengers or unify with champions or fight former champions. That's just how the game goes. So Anthony Joshua, he better be ready because the fight's on. Next question, M1 Han. Ego, what's your opinion on Ward saying he might retire? Is it possible for him without losing? Farce, ergo, not facing Kovalev to win decisively this time? I heard some people talk about it, but I don't know where the quote's from, so I don't really know what he said. I literally don't know what was said. I just heard people on social media and stuff posting that Ward said he might retire. So I mean, it's his career. If he wants to retire or whatever, he might be just saying that just to piss off Kovalev's team because of how they're reacting to his victory over them. You know what I'm saying? So he might be just like pulling their leg, like, hey, I'm gonna retire. Now you will never have a chance to rectify this. So I don't really know, and I don't really like to speak on things that I don't know, and I don't know where the quote's coming from. I haven't seen the direct interview. If you guys can link up the interview or the quote where he actually said, as opposed to just Ward saying he might retire. I don't know. I have to hear the context that he said it in. The context. But yeah, link it up, and then maybe I could revisit this question next week. But I don't know what was said, so I mean, it's his choice if he wants to retire. Next question, Corey Cush. Congrats on going over 50,000 subscribers. Thank you. Been a fan since you only had 10,000. Damn, hard work, dedication. Give me your top 5 154 pounders. Curious to see where you rank Demetrius and Trade. You know, I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna rank it in order. I just know the top 5 guys. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to find a way out of questions or whatever, but it's just, I mean, that's why I have to see these guys fight each other, because that will establish who's the best. I can say, oh, Demetrius Andrade is the best. You know what I mean? From the eye test, to me, he probably looks like he's the best, and he looks like he's hardest to beat. But the biggest name on his resume is Vanes Matarosen. So, you know what I mean? That's why I don't get into the pound for pound list and stuff like that, because it's a lot of politics and it's a lot of what you see, what you like, and how much faith you're putting. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's so hard to like look at welterweight. Errol Spence Jr., he looks like the man. He looks like a beast. But do you rank him? Do you say, oh, he's number 1? And Sean Porter has losses, but Sean Porter has a better resume because he fought Kell Brook and he fought Keith Thurman. You know what I'm saying? And he gave competitive fights in those. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, that's why I don't like the whole pound for pound list and ranking. I just know there's a lot of quality fighters there. Demetrius Andrade, he's one of the top. Excuse me. Canelo, that's 2. Edeslandi Lara, that's 3. Jermall Charlo, and that's 4. And then I would probably say, I would say it would have to be Jermall Charlo probably, because you could say Julian J. Rock Williams, but he just lost and got stopped. Jermall has won all of his fights, so that would be my top 5 at 154. Then there's some up and comers, you know what I mean? Erickson Lubin and guys, Jarrett Hurd. They're trying to rapidly make a name, but they're not champions yet, and I don't think they've had enough big fights or big tests for me to put them above Jermall. Jermall's at least been in there with guys like John Jackson, been in there with Gabe Rosado, been in there with guys like that. So that would be my top 5 list. Oh, I'm so thirsty. Next question, Nicole Jordan. Ego, what's next for Julian? Everything? I don't know what that means. And do Charlos do any testing? I'm not sure if the IBF makes them or whatnot. And so, seeing the improvement and adjustment of Jermall, who do you want to see him against? More Triple G, 160, Andre 154. I mean, if he's moving up to 160, I'd want to see him fight Triple G. But I'm not a big fan of people just jumping up and fighting the top dog when it doesn't have to happen like that. So if he's going to move to 160, get a couple fights in, and then fight Triple G. You know what I mean? We've seen Kell Brook jump straight away, had a little bit of success, and did his thing in spots, and then he got stopped. And he got a potentially career-hurting injury. So if he could make 154, I'd love to see the Andre fight. And shout me out, Ego. Shout out to Nicole Jordan for the question. As far as what's next for J-Rock, he just has to boxing psychological, not let this loss overtake him. He needs to go watch the tape, see what he did wrong, what he could improve on, keep a solid head, and then try to get back on that train, you know what I mean? Get back on that bike, and then climb your way back up. He's not the first fighter this has happened to. Look at Andres from Far. He lost to Adonis Stevenson, and then he beat Chavez Jr., and he had some pretty good wins. And then unfortunately got stopped again, or he got stopped by Joe Smith Jr. recently. But I mean, he was making his way back, and I mean, he just got caught. So it happened. So just determine what you need to do different. Keep a strong, level head, and keep it pushing. On to the next. It's a loss. I'm sure he lost. If he had an amateur career, I'm sure he lost at some point. So, I mean, treat it like that. Next question is from Jack C3D. Ego, do you think Andrade has a chance of beating Jermall Charlo? Of course he has a chance. It's a good fight. It's a pick'em fight. But he has a chance for sure. Also, if Jermall decides to move up, who do you see him beating at 160? And who do you think would be a problem for him at that weight? Do you think Jermall has the potential to beat Triple G? Also, you and Troy should try these if you haven't already. Good stuff. Anyway, love your channel. And I'll check out your link after. But Yeah, Andrade definitely has a chance to beat him. He's very skilled. Like I said, I've seen the guy spar. I mean, he's the real deal. And he's not going to be, I don't think Jermall Charlo is going to be as tall as he was versus Julian Williams. Like, you could see an inherent height difference, but Demetrius is pretty tall too. So I think that height difference would be negated a bit. Plus, it's a southpaw, different style Olympian. I mean, and unlike Julian Williams hadn't fought. That was his first time fighting for a title. Andrade has been a champion, so he's already fought for a title. He's already fought Vanes Matarosan, another Olympian, and he's already been a champion and defended against Brian Rose and stuff like that. And unfortunately, he had some stuff behind the scenes going on, and he got stripped because of inactivity. But he's already been to that point, you know what I mean, where Julian Williams hadn't had that high-profile fight. He hadn't had a title shot or anything. And that was his first chance. So, good pick'em fight. And then you said, can Jermall, who can test him at that weight at 160? I mean, that's all a toss-up. It's a shot in the dark. Because, I mean, although he has a frame to move up, I don't know. I don't know what he's capable of at a new weight division when I've only seen him in the one division. And he's had the J-Rock was probably his best win. You know what I'm saying? I was at the Austin Trout fight, and I think I expected more, you know what I mean, to be honest, from Jermall Charlo in that particular fight. And for whatever reason, it was a much tougher fight than I expected it to be for him. And that's no shade to Austin Trout. Austin Trout is a cool dude. But Austin Trout had some losses and stuff like that. And Jermall was the champion. So I expected a little bit more for him. So I don't really know what he could do at 160 because I got to see it. I never, it's a gamble. Same, it's like asking how Canelo would be at 160. It's not a given. You know what I mean? I try to tell people all the time, like Mikey Garcia, for example. People, I say, oh, Mikey Garcia versus Robert Easter Jr. Talk about that. And they're like, oh, Mikey will blow him out. He's too technical. But you got to keep in mind, Mikey Garcia is a guy who was fighting at like 126, 130, right? And then had legal trouble, so he was sidelined for 2 years. Now he come back and he fought at 140. Now he's fighting a power punching champion at 135. So that's different, you know what I mean? Like, your stripes in the lower divisions don't mean anything. I mean, they're good for your resume and stuff and bragging rights and stuff, but they don't mean anything to the guys in the higher divisions. You think people at welterweight care what Danny Garcia did at 140? They're like, no, Keith Thurman don't. You know what I mean? Oh, you beat Zab Judah at 140. He don't care. He's like, man, I'm a 147 pounder. Errol Spence don't care. So that's the thing. So I have to see what Jermall Charlo can do, and I have to see him fight at least one person. Guys maybe can take a punch better, maybe punch harder at 160 than 154. So I'd really have to see something from him to determine who he can beat and if he can beat Triple G and stuff like that. So, to be continued. Next question. Walk with me. 2-part question. 1, matchups. Charlo versus Boo Boo. Everybody's asking that. I mean, it's a pick'em fight. I'd probably give a slight edge to Andrade in the fight just off the top of my head because everyone keeps asking the same question. So I'd probably give an edge to Andrade. Charlo versus Canelo. I mean, same thing. It just depends on the game plan. That's what I'm saying. I don't like doing too many of these predictions because there's a lot of variables, and I'm firm in that. And I believe in my prediction ability. I gotta compute as much information as I can before the fight. You know what I mean? Charlo versus Triple G. Again, I just answered that. Charlo versus DJ. I guess that's Danny Jacobs. I mean, until he moves up, these are all kind of mute points. You know what I'm saying? Until he officially says I'm moving up to 160. He clearly has a frame to do it, so we'll see what happens. Number 2. What are your thoughts on Max Kellerman asking Bud Crawford about a matchup with Triple G? Crawford and Triple G, I was at the fight. I never heard that. Yeah, it's highly unlikely that Max Kellerman would ask Roman Gonzalez about Rigo type of fight. You must be talking about Errol Spence because he asked him about that. Or asking Loma about a Robert Easter type of fight. Time to start holding HBO commentary accountable. Just saying. Yeah, that's not really, I guess, my thoughts on it. Yeah, I thought that was weird just because Errol Spence is on the other side of the fence, and that was the first promotion where Top Rank even worked with a Heyman fighter. So I thought that was weird that that Max Kellerman would request the Errol Spence fight. Maybe that's just one of his personal fights that he wants to see. But I mean, yeah, I agree. He probably wouldn't ask Roman when his eyes were swollen versus Carlos Cuadras. What about Rigondeaux? You gonna fight him in a new division? You know what I mean? That was kind of like a loaded question, if you will. Next question, Ferg FTW. Ego, I see you out there grinding. Keep up the great work. Thank you. 2 questions. What's your opinion on the Charlos are treating Andrade? He didn't come across as a hater in the press conference to me. I don't know what they said about him. I mean, he was just like, oh, I'm not a matchmaker, bro. So you'd have to elaborate. I didn't really hear any interviews. I've been traveling, so I don't know. I haven't really sat down and watched a ton of interviews and stuff. I'm on the move. So I don't know if the Charlo said something specific. I posted the video of Andrade at the press conference kind of asking his question, like, when can we get on? When can we fight? But other than that, I haven't really heard anything. Number 2, can you give a quick definition of what sunny side up and split the pack means? I think I know, but I want to make sure. LOL. Stay tuned, because I'll ask Troy that, and he can, because he's one of the people he's like the guy that coined it, or one of them. So I'll ask him that. So just stay tuned. It'll be on probably the next set of Troy King videos that I do. Next question, Joe Jackson. How do you think Caleb Smith would handle James DeGale or Badou Jack? Well, first, these two have to win. Whoever wins, and he's the mandatory. I honestly haven't seen enough of Caleb Smith. From what I heard, he's the best of the Smith brothers, Paul Smith and Liam and all them. But I haven't seen enough of him to really gauge. And again, my opinion to a lot of people matters, so I'm not going to put anything out there when I haven't really done my research fully. I did watch the Derek Chisora Matchroom card with Anthony Joshua, Eric Molina as the main event. So I caught the Caleb Smith fight, and I thought it should have been stopped a little bit earlier. The guy was getting punched. Clearly didn't really have an answer, and I don't know why the ref in the corner let it keep going on, and then he brutally knocked him out. So, I mean, he seems like he has power. He seems pretty good, but it's the biggest thing is fighting in a certain region and fighting at a world level. 2 different things. Like, you can have, like, let's say Lucas Brown or somebody. He could be the man in Australia, but then if he starts fighting heavyweights from America, from the UK, like England, and it's different. You know what I'm saying? When you start fighting people from around the world, it's different. So that's the ultimate test. And we've seen that with Caleb Smith's brother, Liam Smith. He fought a fighter from Mexico who happens to be damn good with a lot of experience, rips, nasty combinations. Had been in there with better names like Floyd Mayweather, Edislani Lara, and of course I'm talking about Canelo, and he came up short. So it's premature. Like, I'm a visual person, so seeing is believing, and if I haven't seen enough of a person, then I'll probably reserve my judgment. And if I haven't seen enough impressive things to really make me jump out of like I told people, like, put it this way, if you guys go back on my channel and you guys get mad, oh, you're Mr. I told you so. Oh, well, if I told you so, I told you so. Yeah, I mean, you can't rewrite history. But look at the people I told people to check for. I remember distinct, and the videos are still up, Gennady Golovkin, Terrence Crawford. And I'm talking about before they had signature wins. I'm not saying right after everyone knew that they were monsters because they became champions or they knocked out this person. I'm talking about before that. Before Bradis Prescott fight, I made a Terrence Crawford video because I had been studying and watching it when he had the dreads and shit. So y'all don't even remember Terrence Crawford when he had the dreads. You know what I mean? When he was fighting at, I think it was 135, 130 or whatever, with the dreads. And Roman Gonzalez, Errol Spence Jr. You know what I mean? A lot of these people I told people to check for, and fast forward to the future, these guys are still relevant in their divisions. You know what I mean? So again, I have to see something from Caleb Smith to let me know he's like world level good, or you know what I mean, where he can beat. Because James DeGale, he showed me something. He fought Andre Durrell, and that was a good fight. I mean, he lost to George Groves, but I've seen him in there with enough people to gauge him. Plus, he's an Olympic British gold medalist and stuff like that. Same thing with Badou Jack. I've counted him out and like, oh, he's not going to win that fight. And he won that fight. So I just have to see more from Caleb Smith. I'm not saying he can or can't. He might be all that. But I just haven't seen enough of him to determine that he would beat James DeGale or Badou Jack. Motion Alex, next question. Who do you want to see Canelo in the ring with from 154? Anybody top. Jermall, Charlo, Demetrius, Andrade, Lotta 2. That's really it. Those are all the top guys. Period. Next question. Who would be the ideal opponent for Crawford's next fight? For me, I would love to see Adrian Broner, but I don't think it's likely. That would be ideal for me. Realistically speaking, another person I would love to see is Robert Easter. I don't know if they can have a catch weight or if Easter would come up, but I would love to see that fight. So those are ideal for me, but that's just my opinion. Next question, Wes P. Who's your top 5 jabs in boxing today? No particular order. Ooh, on the spot. Jermall Charlo. I think he has a really good jab. Deontay Wilder. Some of y'all will be like, oh, shit, you don't know. Wilder has a good jab. Watch the fight with Chris Arreola. And he has power in general, so it's a powerful jab. Speaking of powerful jabs, I would put Gennady Golovkin on there. When he jabs, it's with authority, and it's like a power punch because he's a powerful dude. So that's 3. Klitschko's still fighting, so I would say Vladimir Klitschko. Very strong jab that'll keep you respectful and keep you at bay. And 5th person. Ooh. You know, I want to say Canelo. I like Canelo's jab. The thing is, I don't think he uses it enough. Like, I don't think he uses... Oh, actually, never mind. I got to take Canelo off. I'm tripping. I was just at the fight. Terrence Crawford. His jab was fucking ridiculous. He was lighting John Molina up, and it looked like he was like rocking John Molina and getting him off balance with his jab. So yeah, I was gonna put Canelo, but he has a good jab, but he's not consistent enough with it. So these guys that I've talked about are all more consistent with using their jabs as weapons. And yeah, Terrence Crawford's jab was just, I was so close to the ring, and his jab was retarded. And he was doubling up and tripling up. And it's just, yeah, I got to put Terrence Crawford on that top 5. So that's my top 5. Canelo runner up. Next question. Big Nartsty. Ego, do you think Charlo's behavior, unsportsmanship, was justified after KO victory on J-Rock? I think it's getting blown out of proportion. I mean, he apologized and posted a picture of him and J-Rock after that. People got mad. I think people were throwing shit at him. To me, it's not that serious. I think I never really seen him do that. You know what I mean? I think he was just caught in the moment and riled up. So I mean, at the end of the day, you look at my channel, you look at me, I realize boxing is a gritty sport. You know what I mean? It's not really for like political correctness and like pansy attitudes, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, I'm not trying to sound cruel, because I felt for J-Rock, because, you know what I mean, his big moment came up short, but I think it was more he was a victim of being caught in the moment, and he did what he did and acted like classless for that period of time. But I don't think you can label him as that. Like, I've seen other fighters ongoingly do like worse stuff, you know what I mean, in the public eye. So it's just funny to me that people are making this huge deal about it. Like, you look at Ricardo Mayorga. I had a special on Instagram every Monday. It's called Mayorga Mondays, right? And it's just Ricardo Mayorga wilding out on all his fights and doing different stuff. He's flicking cigarettes at people, blowing smoke in their face, hitting Shane Mosley's girlfriend's ass. He slapped people. He's punching people, pushing them, saying Oscar De La Hoya plays with Barbies and he's a faggot. You know what I'm saying? And people were loving it. They're like, oh, Mayorga Monday. They were feeling it. But now everyone's all politically correct, PC. Oh no, Charlo, why did he do that? You know what I'm saying? So it's just, these motherfuckers in boxing are funny. It's like, if it's the guy you want to be doing it, or if he's a certain shade or complexion or whatever, nationality, national heritage, whatever your parameters are, then it's something. But I think it's much ado has been made about his behavior. I think he was just excited, and you got to look at it like from the mind. I guess because I'm around fighters, I understand how the game goes and the competition. I've watched people spar in the Mayweather gym. They're talking shit. You know what I mean? I've watched people spar in different gyms, and it's shit talking. It's just, they're like trash talking, like, you ain't gonna do shit, bop. Like, okay, that shit was weak. You know what I mean? That's how boxing goes. So if you want political correctness, this ain't really the sport for you. This is not like a league like the NBA. You know what I'm saying? And to me, I since I'm around fighters, I kind of understand it. It's gritty. And people said Jermall Charlo was afraid of J-Rock. They said he was scared. They said he was going to move to 160 to avoid him. According to Charlo, J-Rock has stuff to say. I don't really know, because I don't know. I don't remember seeing the interview, but I'm sure his people probably sent him shit, and J-Rock was maybe talking whatever he had to say. And in the end, he stopped him. He was probably juiced. It's a big deal, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, people in 2016 are super sensitive. Next question, Mr. Kerrson. What's next for Joseph Parker? I think he should probably get like an Andy Ruiz rematch. I don't think he should try to get a Joshua fight. I don't think Joshua fight's eligible now, because I think Joshua's fighting Klitschko. But I think he should take like a tune-up fight, perfect his style, and, you know what I mean, basically take like Anthony Joshua's course. Have a title defense, a guy you'll probably be favored to fight, you know what I mean, with enough different things that could make it interesting, like the Dominique Brazils and stuff. Like, let's say Joseph Parker versus Amir Mansour or a guy like that, and see how he does. A guy with, you know what I mean, the power threat, different style threat that you should be favored to beat. See how you do, and take it from there and keep building yourself as a champion, and then go push for unification fights. Illegal immigrant. Ego, do you think Jermall Charlo should stay at 154? I think he should if he can make it. That's where his brother's at. He's been there. So if he can make it comfortably, yes. And unify with Canelo, that would be great. Or move up and challenge Triple G after a fight or two at 160. I mean, the Triple G fight's good. I would love to see that fight, to be honest. But like I said, I think he would have to, and you said it too, he doesn't want to go up and just fight Triple G straight away. You know what I mean? Whatever, again, what you've done in your past division doesn't really matter in the new division. Triple G is the middleweight kingpin, so build yourself up to 160. Get ready, because he's the best at 160. So I want to see him fight at 154. There's enough interesting fights. He's not going to fight Lada or his brother. Obviously, he's not going to fight his brother, but Lada trains with him. He knows him well, stuff like that. So the other names are still interesting enough where I think if he can make it, I'd love to see it. Next question, Demetrius Hawkins. Ego, can you break down Joshua versus Wilder? Personally, I think Wilder is a little sloppy defensively and would get caught. I like both fighters though. A lot of people have this notion. I would actually probably favor very slight edge to Wilder right now. He's athletic, as I said earlier. He has a good jab. He has more experience in big fights, like even being rocked and stuff. He has more experience dealing with that. Eric Molina rocked him. He was got tackled in the Bermain-Stavern fight. All these types of moments, those help you. You know what I mean? I don't know if he was hurt, but he said his toughest fight was Johan Duhaupas. That guy was pretty big, and it was determined. And his eye was fucked up. It had a lot of fluid in it. Those moments help you and help your championship pedigree. I met Deontay Wilder. He's a big dude, and he has the mindset. He clearly has power. Joshua is more technically sound, but he's also a bit stiffer. We don't really know what Joshua will look like in the deep waters against a big puncher who's a good fighter too, like a Wilder. We know that, you know what I mean? Wilder got Johan Duhaupas out late. I think it was like 11th round. He went rounds with a broken hand versus Chris Arreola, and the Stavern fight went the distance. So based on that experience, I would rock with Wilder, even though he's not as fundamentally sound. The thing is, Wilder, I've never seen him not fight with any level of aggression. You know what I mean? Like what Eric Molina did was pathetic. That was horrible. You're a sitting duck for Joshua. He's getting more confident as the fight wears on. He knows he has power to hurt you. You're just literally a sitting duck and getting picked off with good, accurate shots. That's stupid. I wasn't even seeing him throw punches. I don't think Joshua versus Wilder, I don't think Wilder would go out like that. I cannot see that. You know what I mean? And I think Wilder knows that, and that's why he wants to fight Joshua. He's called him out. So, I mean, I think he wants that. He wants that competition. And I think he would try to jump on Joshua early. Joshua is a great fighter. He's not invincible, though. Dillian White hurt him. You know what I mean? And it's a good fight. And you have to admit, or you have to look at the metrics. Joshua is a little bit shorter than Wilder. Wilder's legit like a 6'7". So it'll be a taller guy with long ass arms, who's athletic, who has a good jab, who's aggressive too, but can move his legs too, has some speed. That's different than Dominic Breazeale. Breazeale's more clunky. He's tall, but you know what I mean? He doesn't have the power of Wilder. So, and Wilder, what you just said was a little sloppy. That's also kind of what makes him dangerous. If some of that sloppy shit connects, them wide looping rights, if he connects that shit, I don't think most people are taking that. So that's my breakdown. Joshua has a chance in there, but he's the newer champion. He has less than 20 fights still. Klitschko fight is even dangerous, and Klitschko is more of a surgical fighter and cerebral fighter than Wilder, but he has similar attributes. He still has power, a jab you have to respect, and stuff like that. He's just not as athletic. So I don't even know if Joshua 100% beats Klitschko. It's a good fight. I would favor Joshua because Klitschko's chin, but you don't want to. If you want to base, see, people in boxing, and I'm just gonna leave it at that and go on to the next question. People in boxing don't really know what the fuck they're watching. Like, they'll take certain instances, certain fights, and say, oh, this person, nah. Like, it doesn't work like that. Shane Mosley, for example, he had fought with, let's say, Vernon Forrest. Lost bad twice. So if you want to judge him off of that forever, when he's fighting Margarito, you're going to be like, oh, Margarito's going to kill him. But if you look at it, you know what I mean? Shane Mosley had never been stopped. Forrest looked like he was coming close, but he never been stopped. He's more athletic, and he's a big puncher too. You know what I mean? So maybe you judge it fairly, but people don't do that. They don't judge fairly. They look at, oh, Danny Garcia, Mauricio Herrera. So when they're going to the Keith Thurman fight, they're looking at his worst performances, but they're not looking at his best performances, I guess is a good way to put it. And I think that's a mistake. That's a mistake to do that. You're looking at Klitschko versus Tyson Fury, which he put up a goose egg, and you think he's going to put a duplicate performance up back to back. I don't know if that's wise, because I think he learned something from the Tyson Fury loss. You know what I mean? Hopefully he's more willing to show what he has. So we'll see. It's a lot of good fights though, but that's just my breakdown of kind of the heavyweight stuff. Next question, Francisco Ochoa. Now that 154 is loaded, can Canelo use that as leverage to force Triple G to take the offer in the table? No, I really don't even see that as being any type of leverage for Canelo. If anything, that will make Canelo look worse, because there's killers at 160 with power, Jacobs, Triple G, Lemieux, and then there's a loaded 154 with skilled guys, and a lot of them have power and jabs and movement and stuff like that. So I don't really see that as being leveraged to force Triple G to do anything. If anything, that'll make Canelo look bad if he don't fight one of these people in two divisions that he kind of has been teetering in. Next question, Courtney Douglas, Ego, do you think Charlo should have 1 foot in 154 and 160? If so, is he a threat to Triple G? And I kind of already mentioned that. I think he should pick one division and just rock with it. Stay there. Next question, Paulie G17. What up, Ego? As I always say, love your channel. Keep bringing it. Respect. Thank you. Here's my question. Jermall Charlo said this was his last fight at 54. Who would you rather see him stay in the division to face? Andrade or go up, acclimatize, I don't even think that's a word, to 160, then fight Triple G? I'd rather see the Andrade fight because, like you said, the Charlo fight with Triple G, I don't think it would happen. I don't think his team would just straight away, when he's not a mandatory or anything, put him in there with no experience at 160, at the full 160, under the bright lights in the professional arena. You know what I mean? So I think the Andrade fight could actually happen next year. Triple G fight probably wouldn't happen next year because he would have to acclimate before fighting the middleweight champion. Number 2, now that we appear to have the abnormalities of old back boxer puncher, who would you like to see him face next? I'd love to see him fight Valdez. Oh, that's a good one. I hope you enjoyed December 10th garlic butter. Pause. Shout out to Troy King, UK. Yeah, there's a ton of Matas look good in there. I want to see Gary Russell Jr., Leo Santa Cruz, Carl Frampton winner or loser, or Rigondeaux if anybody's down to ever fight Rigondeaux. Valdez is a good option. So any of those are all spectacular. Lomachenko, but Lomachenko's looking like such a beast. I don't think people are going to be rushing to move up or do anything. He's a champion at 126, so I definitely don't think he's going to try to move up to 30 to fight a Lomachenko. And the final question, Bryson Jones. Do you think it was a little early to put J-Rock in there with Charlo? And do you think a Charlo versus Andrade bout will happen? I hope it happens. Boxing is screwy, so I'm not going to put any kind of stock into that. I hope it happens. As far as your first question, I think that's a little bit unfair because people always do that after the fact. In hindsight, you can say anything. It's easy to say like, oh, it was too premature. But nobody was saying that going in. Everyone was saying, oh, it's a 50-50 fight. People were saying Charlo is weak and J-Rock was going to expose him and knock him out. J-Rock was confident. His team was confident. So I can't say it was too early to put him in. He worked his way up the ranks and got into that number 1 position, that spot, and became the mandatory. He pressed the issue. He was constantly talking about how he wanted it with Charlo, and he didn't think he would get a shot, and he's tired of waiting and stuff like that. So no, I don't think it was too early. That's boxing. You can say anything in hindsight. That's like saying, oh, hey, you think it was too early to put Canelo in there with Mayweather? No, it wasn't too early. He had been calling Mayweather out for probably 2-3 years. You know what I mean? He just wasn't the better man. And that's just what it is. You can say that to any fight after you see, oh, you think Broner shouldn't have fought Maidana and acclimated to 147? But he did. He made the choice, and he said he was ready. He was gonna make Maidana speak English, and he signed on the dotted line. So I don't do that. I don't backpedal, and I don't think it was too early. It was just he got surprised by some things that Jermall Charlo was doing. Jermall Charlo, they both had speed. Jermall Charlo's fundamentals were a bit better and sharper, and his timing and his height and reach, I'm sure, played a part in his countering ability. So I don't think it was too soon or anything like that. I just think the better man won, the guy who was more experienced, the champion. He did what a champion was supposed to do, and that's keep your belt, defend your belt against the guy who's coming for it, and show him, hey, you're not ready for this yet. And we see this all the time in boxing. Canelo, Liam Smith thought he was going to get in there with Canelo and do all this because he was the champion. Canelo's like, no, let me show you what this experience will do to you. So that wraps it up, Monday Mail Day. I'll be back probably on track next week where I can do it, edit it more and stuff like that. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.